Welcome to Kingdom Professionals, a program where faith meets excellence and where knowledge empowers everyday people to win in life and business. Here we'll bring you seasoned professionals who don't just succeed in their fields, but use their expertise to create impact and build others. My name is Shayo John Adebayo, and today we're starting with something that affects every Nigerian, whether you're a salary earner, a business owner, or an entrepreneur. Taxes. With new tax regulations and changing policies, many people are confused, asking questions. Why am I paying more? What has changed? How can I manage my finance wisely? Today we simplify it all, and joining me is a finance professional and business leader. She is the Associate Director in the Finance Unit of Deloitte, Nigeria, and currently serves as the Chief Finance Officer for Deloitte West Africa, where she oversees financial strategy, planning, treasury, compliance, and operations across the region. With over 20 years of experience, including leadership roles within two of the global Big Four firms, she also is a Fellow of ICANN and an Associate of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. Please welcome Mrs. Ajoke Oniyelu. It's such an honor to have you on Kingdom Professionals.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'm highly honored to be here today.
Yeah, thank you. So let's get straight into it. For someone who is watching who is not financially inclined, or who is not finance inclined, or who has no knowledge, about finance, and they are confused about this introduction of the new tax law. So what exactly are these new tax laws and why were they introduced?
All right, thank you very much. So the new Tax Act that we currently call NTA 2025, it's an attempt by government to harmonize the current laws, the different tax laws that we have, and also to simplify the tax process and protect taxpayers as well. So it's an attempt to actually get a simplified tax process that is in line with global best practices across the world. So we're going to demystify the confusion and all the ambiguity around the new tax law today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. All right, so how do these tax laws affect the average Nigerian?
All right, so let's start first of all with what the new tax law is all about. So the new Tax Act 2025 was signed into law in July 2025, and it was effective 1st of January 2026. So as we speak, is in effect. So the new Tax Act came about by repealing several tax laws that exist. So we have different tax laws, the Company Income Tax Act, the VAT Act, the PIT Act, and it also replaces some. So now we have a consolidated and unified tax act that one can refer to that covers every aspect of individual laws, tax laws, company tax laws, different industry. So to an average man, what does this mean? It means for the first time in history, there is an awareness of tax obligation to people, even though there is a bit of confusion. But what we need to know with this new tax act is, what are my obligations? What do I need to do? And that's what we want to delve into. So to an average Nigerian, you need to have a clear understanding of the processes of the new tax act. What are the requirements from my side? What is my obligation? And one thing that we should also note is that the tax act is not just to collect from people, because that's what people are saying.
Exactly.
Oh, government just wants to collect from me. It's also more transparent, and it's a drive towards digitalization, which is what we see in other countries. So it's a good move. I would say that it's a great move by government in the right direction. And now that it's been implemented, we're going to start seeing good moves, greater synergy even across the different tax bodies. And one other advantage of this new tax act that we need to know is there is a lot of information that is now jointly shared that was scattered all over. So we have one source of information, and that is the tin. So now tin is the currency in the tax world.
15, that's
the tax identification number.
number.
Every individual, every organization, whether you are an artisan, whether you are an employee, that your employer deducts tax at source, or you are a business owner or a company, your tax identification number has now become more critical than it used to be previously. So that is what we need to know. Understand what the Tax Act is about, what are my obligations, what do I need to do, and what is also the government's obligation for me. So let me just mention some of the few things from the government perspective. What this new Tax Act has done is been able to help us define or distinguish between small companies and large organizations. So now people know where they fall into. And for small organizations or small companies, if your turnover, your annual turnover is less than or equal to 100 million, you are exempted from tax. You are not to pay taxes. And if your turnover, annual turnover is above 100 million, you are classified as a large company, so you have to pay taxes. Another thing, another change or highlight of the new Tax Act is the fact that the personal income tax, the tax table has changed. It's still the progressive tax table, but now anyone earning below 800 and below, they are not subjected to income taxes again. 800,000 per annum. 800,000 per annum. So the anyone earning minimum wage falls into that category. So I think that's good news for low income earners. And that's what, if you've been hearing people say the big boys will get taxed more, that is exactly what they are saying. And also this new Tax Act has repealed the different levies that government used to charge companies. We used to have 1,000,001 levies, the tertiary education fund, the police fund, the trust, several trust funds. Now, all those funds, all those levies has been consolidated into one. There's now a single levy aside from the company income tax, which is charged at 30% of your accessible income, while there's now the development levy, which is just 4%. So now you don't have to pay the tertiary fund levies, police trust fund levies. You're only paying the company income tax and 4% development levy. And both of them are charged on your accessible income. So let me clarify something as well. So when people hear taxes on my income, it's not on your revenue. It's not your annual revenue like what you make in the business. It's on your profits. And it's also not just on your financial profits. You know, organizations prepare financial statements. They have their revenue, they deduct expenses and other levies or taxes, and they arrive at their profits. That is your financial profits. But taxes will now be charged, or has always been charged, but just to clarify and let people understand, that is now charged on your accessible profits. And what accessible profit does is the taxman comes, he takes your financial profit and then makes some adjustments to it. Adjustments such as taking out depreciation that you have charged in your financials, and he replaces it with capital allowance. That's a recalculation based on tax law. Then they also look at your financials. Are there some deductions that are not allowable by law, or some expenses that you've taken out? For example, personal expenses in your business account. They are going to disallow it. And disallowing it means they will take out those expenses. It will automatically increase the profit that is subject to tax. So at the end of the day, it's not what you have declared as your profit that is charged to tax. So the new Tax Act has company income tax chargeable at 30% of your accessible profit. Now you pay 4% as an organization. And also, you are entitled to chargeable gains tax, which is now accessible at 30%. It used to be 10% before the new Tax Act. Now it's being equated with the company income tax. And what does that mean? That means any capital assets that an organization has at disposal, whatever gain you make on it. So what does that mean? It means if I bought an asset for 1 million maybe 5 years ago, and I'm selling it now at 2 million, I've made a gain of 1 million.
1 million.
So that 1 million is charged. It's not the sales price or the sales amount that is charged. It's the profit you make on the disposal of a capital asset. Previously it was 10%, now it's 30%. So those are some of the changes. And also good news to organizations. Previously, some expenses or some donations or deductions were not allowed. Donations that were allowed previously must not be of capital nature, meaning for capital expenditure. But with the new Tax Act, the scope has been expanded. So you have more donations that are now allowable, which means that your profits will not be, they will not add it back to your profit to increase the tax on your profit. So those are some of the changes from a company perspective. For an individual, when it also comes to VAT, that affects every individual.
VAT, that's value-added tax.
Value-added tax. In fact, that's the major one that impacts almost everybody, because previously, before the Tax Act, if your turnover is below 20 million, you are not mandated to register as a VAT collection agent. And we all know what value-added tax is.
Okay. Yeah, please, I want you to explain, because some people don't, because you just see them, they just see they are charged VAT. Which one is VAT? Why am I paying extra?
So VAT is a source of revenue generation for government. So anybody that charges you VAT does not get that VAT. They are just a collection agent for government.
They're also remitting it back.
Yes, so they remit to government. And by law, they are to remit on or before the 21st day of the next month. So every VAT that I collect on behalf of government, whether as an individual or an organization, in January, I have to remit them on or before 21st of February and subsequently.
Okay, sorry to cut in there. So no for problem. An average person watching now, that VAT, that's value-added tax. Yes. They're already charging me for that. So why do I'm just thinking from the perspective of an average Nigerian who is not really financially inclined. Okay. So since I'm paying VAT, so why should I still pay tax after I'm already paid? They're already deducting from, because when we go buy things from a supermarket and all, we see VAT. So VAT. That is enough. So why are they disturbing me again?
So as the name implies, it's value-added tax. So any item you are purchasing that is subject to VAT, you need to pay taxes on it, because you are getting value from that person. And it's not just peculiar to Nigeria, it's all over the world. All governments of different countries also charge VAT. But the beauty of it is, with the new Tax Act, it does not change the percentage. The standard VAT rate is still 7.5%.
Okay.
But some of the changes that came with this VAT is that now we have 3 different categories of VAT rates. We have zero-rated VAT. It does not mean that item is not subject to VAT, but the VAT rate is 0%. We have exempted services or supply. So there is a list of items that are exempted. So we have things like educational materials, baby food, baby products. They are outrightly exempted.
Wow.
For zero-rated, we have, in fact, we have a lot of items like in the medical space. Almost 90% of medical services are not zero-rated. So if you go to the hospital, you don't expect to see VAT on your invoice. They are zero-rated. You are not charged VAT. And if for some items that are subject to VAT, those are the standard rates. It's 7.5%. To an average individual that has now registered for VAT. So let me come down to the average person.
Yes.
Now, as long as you do business in Nigeria, you are to register as a VAT collection agent. So previously, small-scale business are not obligated to register, but now you have to register for VAT. And when you charge VAT, the beauty of it is the VAT that you collect from people is referred to as output VAT, which you must remit. Before the new Tax Act, if you are not in the manufacturing sector or selling manufacturing items, you are not entitled to impute VAT. Now, if I have a small clinic, or I have a small company or a business that I charge VAT on my services or on my products, now I'm entitled to a VAT credit called input VAT. So that is one good thing that I think everyone, whether you are a big organization or a small business, that we need to embrace and also take advantage of. So now services industry are now included in people that can get input VAT back.
So is it like a percentage from the VAT you pay?
Yes, so
Okay.
your own purchases. So when you make purchases and they deduct VAT from you, that is your input VAT. When you sell and you charge VAT to people and people
Yes.
pay you VAT, that is your output VAT. So now I can use my input VAT to offset my output VAT. So what it means is, if I've collected 20 million VAT on behalf of government, and my vendors too have also collected like 10 million VAT from me, subject to you meeting all the requirements. Instead of me remitting, previously I would remit the whole 20, I don't get any benefit for the 10 that I've paid. But now I can offset the 10 million against the 20 million, and I'm only paying government 10 million.
10 million.
That's a cash flow benefit. 10 million is sitting with me that I'm not remitting to government. So that is one benefit to companies.
So which means it's very important. A proper documentation is very important.
Absolutely.
Because
I'm
there's
going
no
to
way
get to that. Absolutely.
there's no way you'll be able to know your input what do you call it now? Input input VAT, and and there's no way the government will be able to believe, and if you have not done proper documentation. So
Exactly.
I think the documents and the records is what really vindicates. But okay, I think we should, okay, let me not get there before you want to, because I want us to talk about documentation now.
Yes. So, in fact, I think with documentation, I'll focus more on the medium scale and the small scale business. A lot of people, they mix up their personal finances, personal account with their business account. And that is where the issue of narration comes in. That's why people have been saying, any money you are sending to me, please put gifts. I remember somebody was supposed to send money to me and the person put family support. Initially, it didn't click to me. I was wondering, how is this person supporting my family? Then the next he said, I don't know what else to put. I don't want to put gift too, so that it should not be subject to tax. It's that bad. But what I would say is, first of all, whether you are a small business or a medium scale business, right now, there's no time that documentation has become more critical than now.
Wow.
Because everybody needs to file for tax now. Based on the new Tax Act, as long as you are earning income, whether as salary or as profit on your business or dividends, income and taxes, you need to register as a taxpayer. I mentioned earlier that if you fall within the category of small businesses, you do not need to file company income tax. Or if your income is below 800,000, annual income is below 800,000 naira, you do not need to pay tax, because
even as a small business owner.
So as a small business owner,
registered.
Okay. So let me take it this way. In fact, first off, the starting point is you need to know your status. Am I a small scale business? What did I register as? If I registered as a business name, then I need to file tax. But I don't need to file audited accounts. I don't need to file audited financials. So what it means is that for small businesses that has not registered as company, you are subject to taxes if you exceed the threshold. So if my income or my annual turnover is less than 100 million, I'm not paying tax, but that does not mean I will not file tax. So let me explain what I mean by filing tax. It means I must register as a taxpayer with Lagos State Government, Ogun State Government, because I'm a small-scale business. I'm registered as a business name, not as a company. If I'm registered as a company, I pay my taxes as company income tax. But if I'm registered as a business name, or I'm an employee, or I'm an artisan, I'm in the category of small scale. whether I'm going to pay taxes or not, I still need to register as a taxpayer. I must have my tax identification number. And every year, filing of tax means I will go online to the portal. There's a lot of digitalization going on now. Most filing are now done digitally. I'll go online to file my, filing means I'll go online, record. It's just like saying I'm giving government or the tax authority my information. Okay, this is my turnover, this is my profit. But there's no way you can do that if you don't keep records. So that's where I'm linking it together.
Okay, so is this something that we can do by ourselves? You know, you said go online.
Yes.
Or we have... Okay.
Yes, as individuals, every individual must file their taxes by March 31st, or not before March 31st. And what that means is, as an employee, two categories of people. As an employee, my employer has deducted my taxes as payee, which is called pay as you earn. So before it comes to me, they've deducted. So all the deductions they've made and have remitted to the appropriate revenue authority, which is determined by my residence. So if I live in Ogun State and I work in Lagos State, my tax is to be paid to Ogun State. That's my place of residence. So you need to tell your HR in your company, update your address or let them know where you stay, because your residence determines the revenue authority that your taxes is paid to. So you then have to go online. You would have registered, like for Lagos State, I think is e-tax, lrs.ng or something. Ogun State also has their own portal. Most of the Southwest Revenue Authority, they've gone digital. Some states still do manual, but a lot of them are going digital now.
I think we can even just type online.
Online,
and search
yes, you can search for it online. It will come up.
Website.
You need to register as a taxpayer. It will generate a TIN for you. And what you need is your NIN, your name, National Identification Number. So that is what you will use as the basis. I think it also requires BVN. So when you register, you then go there. The portal will ask for your returns. The returns means it will show you a page where you input your income, it will input your pension, you input some things that has been deducted, and it will then come down to the total tax that you have paid. This tax must be equal to what you have remitted. If it's less than, then you still have to go and pay extra to government. But if it's equal to it, you complete it, you submit it. It's a form. You fill the form. You write the year you are filing for. So by March, we'll be filing for 2025. So to ask you, what year are you filing returns for? 2025. Then you input your income, input all the deductions, input the taxes that you paid. So if you have things like, let me digress a bit. For individuals, what can help you? There are ways by which you can reduce your taxes. These days, you find rich men paying less taxes. They are not stealing and they are not evading. By law, there are some eligible deductions. So those eligible deductions, if you are contributing pension, it's an automatic deduction that is eligible by the new tax law. It's been there before. We have mortgage. If you have mortgage for your own occupied residential house. So if I'm building my own house and I've taken mortgage from bank, the interest that I paid is an eligible deduction. I can use it to deduct, to reduce my tax. If you contribute to NHF, NSITF, and there is the new one that came with this new tax act. That is the rent relief.
Oh.
Rent relief. It's not been there before.
How does that work?
Okay, so the rent relief, first of all, has repealed or replaced what we used to call the consolidated relief previously, consolidated relief allowance, CRA. Now, what the rent relief does is, annually, if I'm paying rent, if my rent, I'm eligible to a relief of 20% of my annual rent. So if my annual rent is 1 million, 20% of that is 200,000. So I'm eligible to the lower of 20% of my annual rent or minimum of 500,000 naira. So if my rent, assuming my annual rent is 5 million, 20% of that will be around, like that will be 1 million.
1 million, yes.
I can't get the 1 million as a relief. I can only get 500,000. That's the threshold. But if it is below 500,000, I'm entitled to any amount below 500,000 as long as it's my annual rent is not more than 20% of my annual rent is not more than 500,000. So individuals that are working, please reach out to your HR or your finance, depending on the department that works on your taxes. Share your rent receipts with them. And when you are also filing on the portal, there is part of the form you fill will ask for if you have made any rent payment. So all these things, it's just like saying, my employer has deducted this. On the system, I'm now taking responsibility to give government the information. So what government does is they look at the information that your employer has filed, and every employer files January 31st, or not before January 31st, but employees then file theirs March 31st.
Sorry, before you go further, the rent relief, if
Yes.
I got you well,
Okay.
you said 20% of my
Annual rent.
rent that I'm entitled to it.
As rent relief.
As rent
subject
relief.
to it not exceeding 500,000.
500,000. So entitled to it meaning that
Is a rent relief.
I
You use
can
it
be
to,
given
no,
to
to
reduce
your tax
my
payable.
because we need to clarify that so that someone not go and start fighting their
no,
landlord.
no. Okay, so what that means, let me explain how the taxes, for those that are working in organizations. So the way it works is your total salary on your letter, your annual salary is not what is subject to tax.
Yeah,
So your
I
annual
think it's
salary is
better.
taken, and then there are some deductions. These are the eligible deductions that I've mentioned. So if you're paying mortgage, the interest, the rent, relief, subject to 500,000, is now is added together as total relief and deducted from your annual salary. So what is remaining will now be subjected to the tax table.
Oh.
So, for instance, if my annual salary, by the time they take out all the deductions, comes to 800,000 per annum, my tax is at 0%, and anything multiplied by 0 is 0. So I won't pay any tax. So I may even be earning 2 million, but because I have deductions, by the time they take out the deductions, it comes to that. If I'm an artisan and I need to file my tax, I don't have an employer. I'm self-employed. What I need to do is I need to prepare, in fact, basic income statements. In fact, basic statement of income and expenses. What's my total income? And that's where recording, proper documentation comes in. When you want to file, that's what you put into the online portal. This is my total income for this year. This is my expense. These are my expenses. And whatever you have left as your profit, you then pay. You then put it on the tax table, because you are not registered to pay company income tax. But if at the end of the day, whether you make losses or you are not to pay taxes because your salary is below 800,000 naira per annum, you still have to file. You still have to go online to put all the details there. I hope that is clear. So don't say, oh, I'm not supposed to pay tax because it's less than 800,000. And because of that, I don't need to do anything. I don't have any obligation. Whether you are making losses or you are eligible for non-payment of taxes because of the requirement of the law, you must still go online to put all the details there. And you must attach documents, because how does government prove that your income is less than 800,000? You can only prove it through the financials that you prepare, through your documents. And sometimes they can come and check. You need to keep receipts, invoices. They may ask for your bank statements to see inflows that have come in to match it with your revenue. So I think proper documentation, recording. If you have not been issuing invoices, you are a plumber, you are a carpenter, please issue invoices to your vendors now and start documenting. You don't have to, you can do manual documenting. These days, there are a lot of online things that we have access to that can be used.
Thank you very much. All right, so I know this is a lot for a lot of people to, to take in,
Comprehend.
and that's why, as you're watching on TV now, it's also on our YouTube channel. So I would advise you to go back to the YouTube channel and watch this episode again and pay attention to every detail and every information given. You understand? Because there's a lot that has been said, and if you're not in the finance space, you might not be able to comprehend all at once. Okay, so let me also quickly draw our attention to the vital importance of documentation. So I was going to ask, for someone who is not educated, you understand, is into business or is an artisan, so and does not really know how to, do all of these things by themselves online, and so what would you advise people like that to do? And they also have to fulfill their obligations.
So out for such category of people, first of all, I would say that a lot of these artisans that we are calling illiterate, almost everybody has phone. They go online, they check things. It's for them, they can search. The forms are very simple, it's very simplified to fill. They can ask their children to help them. Oh, search for this, I want to create my payer ID. Or they can reach out to, there are small organizations or small professional services business on the small scale size that can also assist them depending on the size of their business. Because if somebody is making less than 800,000, you don't expect such a person to start paying
tax.
millions. And yes, the person is not paying tax, but he still has to file online. So you can ask people to help you. You can ask your children. In fact, these days, they are more learned and they understand more than we do. You can ask them. And then you can also, there are a lot of boutique firms that are small businesses, maybe 1 or 2 people that can assist. You don't need a very big accounting stuff. All you need to do is, you can get a book and be writing, these are my expenses, this is what I made today. I know you'll be surprised, a lot of the market women, they have books where they register people that are owing them what they sold.
That's
they
true.
know, in fact, they know their profit even more than organization. It's
That's
just that they are not putting it in a digital format. So it's just to transfer that into a digital format, or even have the record. You can have someone help you put it in an Excel, and when they put it in an Excel, it's a simple mathematics. This is my income, these are my expenses, this is my profit. And then they can help you put it in Excel, which you would then just pick the figures out and input it in the system. But I would suggest that if your business is somehow on the band, maybe on the higher band of the small business, there's small business, there are small businesses as well. So people categorize themselves as small businesses, but they have like 5 branches across countries or across states. So you can engage the service of small boutique firms that can assist you. At the end of the year, you can call them in, they'll help you look into it. They'll prepare a very simple, it's just a simplified profit and in fact, income and expense statement, not like for
basically.
companies. Yeah, it's just basic, not like companies that have to get auditors to audit it, it's not a very complicated thing. So engage the services of people. You can ask, if you have friends and family also in professional service, they can help you. Or if you know someone that has done it before, you can ask them. But compliance is very key because there are a lot of penalties. As much as there are obligations in the new tax act, there are also penalties and interest.
Okay, I'm trying to actually check online for I'm saying etax.lirs.net.
Yes, .net. That's for Lagos State.
Yes, etax, it will also be displayed on the screen. etax.lirs.net. That's for Lagos State.
That's for Lagos State.
Okay, so we'll get all of this information and it will all be displayed on the screen. All right, so there's a question here. If someone is asking about those who work with organizations, maybe NGOs or churches now, and they get paid and their taxes have been deducted, just like you said earlier. Now, so what are they expected to do? Because sometimes they don't get appropriate or adequate information about this, just so that they've deducted this, they've deducted that. So is there any record or document that they are to request from the accountant? Okay, what's the evidence that I'm actually also paying tax? Because I'm seeing it on paper that you have deducted tax from my money. So what are the documents or evidence or records to show that, yes, I'm also paying tax as an employee?
Please, I love that person. Ask questions. Any deduction made from your income, ask questions. So there's an obligation on the part of the employer as well. Like I mentioned, employers are to file. In fact, all employers should have filed by now, January 31st. I know Lagos State extended by 1 week because of all the confusion around setting up the digitalization and a whole lot of things. So first of all, it is expected in an ideal organization to get a pay slip. Your pay slip shows the tax in fact, all deductions that has been taken from your income. When you get that, I'm not sure of Ogun State, but I know with Lagos State, when your tax is remitted, you get an SMS. You get SMS alert that tells you a transaction has been done on your behalf to put your organization's name. They will tell you the amount that was remitted for you. So Lagos State, they do that. And another thing is, you can ask for, if you feel your organization is not remitting, you can ask them. Because when you want to file in March, there are two obligations. Employer files in January, employee files in March. The expectation is that both of you are filing the same information. So, and for employer to file, whatever they have put there as tax for employee A, employee B, employee C, must total to what they have paid to government. They pay in bulk. They will just pay one bulk amount to Revenue Authority, and that should add up to A, B, C, D deduction. When A is filing in March, it should be equal to what they have filed, and it should be equal to the total on the payee receipt, because they get a receipt. They get a receipt. And when you want to file, go and ask whichever unit is in charge of your deduction, I want to file. I need a total or a monthly breakdown of the taxes that you have paid on my behalf so that I can file. In fact, now, when employers realize that employees they are well informed and they also want to file, they won't give you wrong information. So they cannot give you an information that they have not filed. So you ask and say, okay, I want to file by end of March, because any penalty from not filing as an individual is not on the employer, it's on you. It's on the employee. So ask them for the breakdown for 1 year, because you file for 1 year. So you're going, in March 2026, you will file for January to December 2025. Ask for the breakdown. I want to file, because it's the total that you put in there. It must tie to whatever they have also put in there. You can then cross-check it with your pay slip to say, okay, on my pay slip, I can see that you've been deducting 50,000 every month. I expect to see 600,000 total. When they give you the breakdown, that's what you should have, and that's what you should put in there, which should tie to whatever they have paid to government. So that's how you can tie it. Your pay slip must agree to what they give to you, and if you are remitting to a state that sends SMS, like a Lagos State, in all honesty, you see your taxes every month. You will see what they are paying. It will alert you once they pay. And also timely, because there's a time frame to paying. If you're an employer and you've been deducting for your employees, don't say, oh, I have just 10 employees, I'll batch everything together. You are to remit monthly. As you are deducting from your employees, you must remit and pay. And January 31st, you have to fill a form and tell government, I have these 10 employees. I've deducted so amount. In fact, you break it down by months when you are filing. I've deducted this. That total that you have put in there, they expect that is the same total that should be on the person's filing as well.
Okay, based on all of this, like I said, a lot of people are new to some of these things. You understand?
Even organizations.
Even organizations. So at what stage should a small business hire an accountant or a tax consultant who can properly guide them through all of this?
I would say that if you don't have enough information now, please get someone to give you that orientation, and let them use one stone to kill multiple birds. So as they are giving you the orientation on your taxes as a business, you also need to have the orientation around value-added tax, withholding tax. So your finance unit or your accounts department, if you don't have one, if you are the MDCO and everything in your organization, you use the opportunity to also learn. So it's not just your tax, your income tax that is at stake now. Even taxes surrounding your services, value-added tax, when should you withhold taxes, and what are the benefits of withholding taxes? I've worked with somebody and they've deducted withholding tax on my payment. What's the benefit of that withholding tax? It's not lost. It's an advance payment for you. So you need to understand all this. So I would say that now is the best time to get someone to help you, so that if you need to change the way you do your recording, your invoicing, your documentation, you can start now. Not when it's time to file, then you now realize that, oh, I've missed out a lot of information, it take more time. So I'll suggest that now is the time. Get the right information, get the right setup, know your status. If you are not registered with CAC, register, whether as a business name or as a company. Register for tax. Registering with CAC is different from registering for tax. Registering with CAC is registering your business or your company. Registering for tax is that I'm registering as a taxpayer. So you must do the two. You must do the two. So that already makes you ready for any tax payment. And then understand if you need to change your system, if you need to change your invoicing, if you need to change the way you issue things, if you need to change the way you design your invoice. Let me give us one tip for small scale business. Let's be careful when we are raising our invoices, because when you issue an invoice to someone, especially if you are working with a company and you are a small business, if you don't differentiate what your service charge is, everything will be taken as your income and it will be subjected to tax. So for instance, if you are a caterer, if you are sending your invoice, all the pepper, the food, the plates, you are or an event planner, we are renting, cutting, rug, chairs, they are all reimbursable expenses. That is not your income. It's taken that they are paying you for that. Your real income is your service charge. So make sure you list it separately and let a line show your service charge. That is what will be subjected to withholding tax. But if you lump up everything and just say, this is my professional fee, it's taking that professional fee is your income. And they will charge tax on everything.
Wow, so this is vital.
It's a restructuring. Ensure you restructure your invoice in a way that sometimes if I show service charge and it's 10,000, I may even give you an invoice of 5 million and all I'm making on it is 50,000. You only charge withholding tax on that 50,000. But if I lump everything up and I say 5 million and 50,000 is my professional fee, I will charge tax on the 5 million because I'm taking it as your fee or your income. So
thank you very
restructuring
much.
is very critical. Reimbursable, show it separately, show your own fee. If you're a consultant, maybe you're a consultant to a business, show your professional fee, show your reimbursable. They have to reimburse you for transport, show it as a reimbursable. Reimbursable is not subject to withholding tax.
Wow. Thank you very much for that vital information. All right, so we are almost getting to the end of course, it's been a wonderful conversation, but we just have to end it. So let me quickly ask this. What risk do businesses face when they try to cut corners with taxes?
There's tax avoidance and there's tax evasion. If you try to evade tax, it's a criminal, act. So tax is an obligation. Instead of you trying to avoid paying it, you can find a way to take advantages of the benefits, the deduction, the reliefs.
Like you've explained
exactly,
already.
Which are all in the act. Like if you have a mortgage, it will help you reduce your tax payable. There are penalties. In fact, for not registering, if you're a business or company, for not registering as a VAT agent, there are penalties. For false documentation, there are penalties. And government has the right to go back and check your books for the past 6 years. So if you think, oh, I've escaped last year, by law, they have the right to say, I want to check your books, or I want to review your books, or I want to audit your books to be sure you've paid the correct taxes. They can go as far back as 6 years. So some of them, you pay penalty up to that day, you start paying daily, or please, employers, if you are deducting, make sure you remit. For deducting and not remitting, there is a penalty. for also not remitting the correct amount. So there are different things in the act.
Wow.
What I would suggest that people should get maybe consultant or someone, or call out extracts of things that relate to their own specific business, because it's not a consolidated act that covers 1,000,001 things. It's a 212 Gazette page, so you can imagine.
Wow.
We have a lot of information there. In fact, what I've done, I've just brushed on it. I didn't go into details.
Okay, so for us that might want to know more about this and have broader knowledge, what would you suggest? Would you suggest that we just go online and search randomly? And
so also I would also just search randomly. Be careful. If you go online, there are a lot of the professional firms, like my organization, Deloitte. We have a lot of webinars that we have done that is online. So you can search for webinars. If it's coming from specialists or experts in the field, you can check them. We have a lot of things from other big fours as well. So you can go online, highlights of the new tax act. If it's coming from a random person, maybe a skit maker, please ignore. But if it's coming from professional organizations, there are a lot of webinars, there are a lot of leadership thoughts out there that we can refer to.
wow, thank you very much. And this is where we are going to be joining the curtain. You know, it's been very educating and informative. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ajoke Oniyelu.
Yes, please.
Yes, you know, it's such a great honor to have you with us today. Thank you so much for, you know, at least it was a short time, but you were able to touch on the major aspects. And for the low-income earners that we've all been, because I realized that it's even the low-income earners that are making more noises, you understand?
And they are the biggest beneficiaries
and
of this new tax act.
you understand? That's why I say you need to watch this episode again so you can understand it. But at least know this for a fact that if your annual income is less than 800,000 naira, you are not liable to pay tax, right? I hope I'm...
Yes, and if you fall into the category of a small business with annual turnover less than 100 million, and your fixed assets is below 250 million, you are not paying company income taxes and development levy.
So finally, take this as a take home. You have to ensure that you do proper documentation, because that's what will vindicate you when, you know, people like Mrs. Ajoke come and then say, oh yeah, bring out your records. That's so you are paying 100 million. Say, how? You know, but once you have done your proper documentation and, you know, all of the things that have been put in place to help reduce the tax you pay, you know, it will actually be in your favor. So thank you so much for joining us on Kingdom Professionals today. By the grace of God, in the next episode, we're going to be bringing another seasoned professional just like we have today. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. We hope to have you again some other time on maybe another topic. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much as well.
All right, God bless you. Bye.